On? Doing good? I'll open it for questions.
What's kind of the first thing you look at when you take a peek at that Jets defense or offense?
You want to see what you can find, that kind of crosses over. You got to watch a few different things because the team is different, with Rodgers not getting many snaps last year. So you kind of got to watch a few things. But looking overall, they have good position players. They got good skill players. We know the guys that they brought in. I think it's definitely going to be a different team. They've upgraded. Obviously, having one of the best quarterbacks that's played the game, being in there, it does change them a lot. And obviously you can see what they've done with their O-line and, making that a priority as well.
Is there any way to know? Now, you're going to assume he's as good as ever, but have you been able to see enough to know what he's got still?
Who's that? No, because we haven't seen, tape other than, you might see him throw once on TV or something when someone's at camp. But I would assume he's back to where he is, feeling great. And, his arm is his arm as long as he can move, which I would think that he can. And he's put himself in that position. He's been getting a lot of, reps at practice. I think he's been ready. I mean, he came back so fast at that point last year, I think, from that injury. So I think we're going to see his best.
Nick, what's the challenge of defending Hall? He catches it, he runs it, he's pretty fast.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a dynamic player. He's explosive, he's got speed, he's got size. He can really cut back and get on edges of people, and he's had so many catches in the past game. He's a weapon. He's a weapon. They get him the ball, and he's explosive in any way that he gets it.
How do you envision lining up in nickel with your defensive backs? Who are you going to be your three corners?
Well, how we've been going has been how it started out, was with Ike and Demo and Mooney. And then we've been rotating guys through and getting a lot of reps with them as well. But that's how it's going right now. Renardo rotating in.
With Renardo, do you cross-train him?
Yeah, we cross-train him. Like I said, he's bounced around, and, however the rep counts are and how he feels at each position, then we just get him more reps of those. That's just how it's been with him. And whatever he needs, we get him. So he's prepared at both spots because he has to be.
How has Talanoa looked since he got back, and do you think there's a chance for him on Sunday?
It's been great to see him. He looks good. When I see him out there and moving around, I think a lot of it is, part of just the process. This was just the next step. And just like anybody, there's those check marks and those benchmarks that everyone's got to hit. And there's such a specific plan for these guys that I think he's just hitting that next one. But, seeing him out there and, trying to watch him specifically and, in his individuals and some of the reps that he gets out there with Look Team, he looks good. So it's about him. How does he feel? Is he hitting, those percentage numbers that he needs to hit with the strength and all those tests that they do? I don't know fully. They kind of give you some of it. But, just talk him through it and see how he feels.
Are Robert Saleh's fingerprints still on this defense in certain ways?
I think so. I think everyone's are kind of everywhere, I think a lot of it came from Seattle, us being there, many years ago, and where that came from before that. But I think everyone's got fingerprints from everything in the league. A lot of people are friendly with each other, but also it's just you don't even need to talk to other people. You just have to watch tape, and you can see what you can tweak. And then not even that, you get so much different changes within staffs with different people that you spend a lot of time together. You talk about different things, So I think everything's tweaked, and you evaluate yourself each year anyway, and you might see something that could fit what you do. So I think there's a lot of that carryover and tweaks that happen here and there for everybody, offense and defense. Look what the different motions for offenses have done. I mean, one team does it, the whole league does it within a week or two,
Rodgers was joking that he's played against Lynch, and he said, I think I played against Sorensen. Do you remember playing against him?
I think so. I probably should remember. But I think he was a lot younger then. I mean, I know he was. I mean,
There was a game in 2009, actually.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Where was it?
It was 31-3 Green Bay. You were with Cleveland.
Okay. Sounds about. Made a what?
Made a tackle on the second half.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that.
This week, does it feel any different for you than it has in the past, or does it feel about?
I think it's just going through the week now. I think it's just a change from the off season to the training camp and to now. For me, it was more just remembering the schedule and how we kind of go through the days. I think that would have been like that, in any position. Obviously, it is different for me in being in this position, but it was more like because we changed the schedule later in the year a little bit to tweak it, like everybody does. So it was just kind of remembering what the process was and what was next and how we chip away at it. Because you just work so hard, you don't have time to think other than just work. So to say, does it feel that much different? It doesn't, because it's just you're grinding and you're trying to work to do everything you can to win. Is it different because we also have some new coaches? Absolutely. We have a lot of young coaches that are new to us, as well as Staley coming in. So I think it's different every year. I don't think it's that, shockingly different to where it's like, oh my gosh, it's just let's do the work and hey, when's the next meeting again? Let me look at the schedules. And so that's pretty much it.
What's unique about the challenge Aaron Rodgers presents the defense?
With him, he's really accurate and he gets rid of the ball quick. He's had a lot of success. He's seen everything. And, you got to be able to be tight on the guys, and he's good when he has a good run game, so you always want to stop the run. And then he's got different elements off of that, and when he trusts receivers and has had time with them, and he can be really pinpoint accurate when he knows where they're going to be. I think that's the one thing that he's always been really connected with someone on his team that's really good, and he can put it in a spot, much like Mahomes and Kelsey have. He's had that throughout his whole career, and he's confident. He's got a confident arm. It's strong. He can make every throw. He can see the field. So that part of it, you could say that about anyone who's played that long, because you probably have to be really good to play that long, but he's also been really good that whole time. So he just keeps seeing more, and it adds more to, his experience. That's what makes it tough. And they also, like you said, he's got a good running back too. And they've revamped the O-line, added another receiver in Mike Williams. So, and even that new running back looks pretty tough too, So I think all those things combined.
Matchup of Osa and Floyd against their veteran tackles that they've brought in.
It's a good challenge for them. Those are good players. I love our guys too. So we'll see. We're excited to just get started and start playing.
How about Odom? He seems like he's improved quite a bit from scrimmage this summer. Is there a chance we're going to see him at safety in this game?
Yeah, he's been going and he's been doing good. And Malik just keeps progressing too. So really happy with both of them, along with Tig, obviously.
With most of the injuries and issues and such coming on offense in this training camp, how good do you feel about the continuity you've had on defense all the way through training camp and having your guys out there and being able to hit the ground playing really good football right off the bat?
It's a good point, because when you have the guys out there practicing, it does matter because they're used to hearing each other and communicating. So especially when we had some guys that were hurt already with Huff and Greenlaw. So it's been really – that's important because they communicate really well. They've meshed together, and the good part of it is they've worked really hard, and you can see it, and they're very serious and excited about the next step.
Based on what you saw from Isaac Yadam on film from last year and being around him so close spring and summer, can you put your finger on why this is his sixth team since he's been in the NFL?
I think so. He is as I see him and what he's done, I think the coolest thing is I feel like he's a self-made man, like he's a worker, and I respect the hell out of people like that. Because anyone who I've ever played with or coached that is really good, they usually work really hard. Obviously, there's talent. Like, you can't make it in the NFL if you don't have, like, God-given abilities. But to either sustain a long career or to become an elite player, usually those guys work their asses off. And I see that in him, so I'm not surprised. So that's what's cool about Ike, is you see how serious he is. And, that's just been consistent in my, however many years being in the NFL, both with teammates and with players that I've coached. There's usually not a surprise and there's not coincidence when those guys become what they become. So I think he maybe the surprise part would be like, did he just figure it out later?
We get a chance to see Brendel and Kinlaw potentially lock horns, and Kinlaw supposedly put on 30 pounds. What kind of a challenge is that going to be for Jake to anchor against a guy like that?
Great challenge. We get challenges every week, and Javon's another great guy, great player. Loved our time with him here. We really respect him and the job that he does. It's going to be a great challenge for whoever has to block the guy. He can be as dominant a defensive lineman as we see, and from what we've heard, he's having a great camp and is ready to go. So obviously, we got a great challenge ahead of us.
I know it's only been a couple of days, but how does Trent Williams look just in terms of his game shape, et cetera?
Trent is Trent. So he continues to be Trent. He gets out there, and I think as always, I think we've talked about before, in getting guys ready to play, there's that push and pull of being full speed against somebody shoving on you, and that yesterday got him a little bit. But today he seemed much better, and tomorrow he'll continue to push himself, and we'll see how it goes.
How was Christian looked being back in practice last
He
week?
looked good. He looks like Christian to me. I mean, same thing. Everybody, if you don't practice, you need to practice. And so the guys that haven't practiced, I don't want to say there's rust, but there's always a little something that goes on just because they haven't been doing it every day. There's just that grind of every day, day after day. After you've missed a couple, there's always something. But he's look good.
You guys have been putting the run game plan together going into this week. Has your expectation all along been that Christian will be ready to go and take
Yeah.
on?
And I think the run plan doesn't change much. I think there's much more probably involving the passing game, I would think, with Christian than there is with the run game, because he creates so many matchup issues in the passing game. While that can help the running game, it's oftentimes the run game is kind of the run game. We don't, like we've talked before, Elijah had this run or JP has this run, and Christian, it kind of comes out as it comes out.
Based on the way how tight they were calling the illegal formation last night, is that something you have to reinforce maybe more than normal?
Yeah, I showed the clips this morning. And there was a kid from Washington had three. I think it posted online where the quarterback had his first touchdown pass in the preseason called back because the guy. Those were legitimately, that cat was a yard behind everybody else. The ones yesterday, not for me. I'm not an official, and I don't comment on officiating and everything else. They see what they see, and obviously the letter of the law. If your head's not breaking the belt line of the center, or whatever that is, and they're going to call it.
For this game, would you consider mixing in Jalen Moore a little bit with Trent until he's fully game ready and in shape to go?
Well, I've tried to purposely let Jalen just rep the left side because I don't know. I think a couple years ago in the COVID year, we went down to SoFi and Trent was coming off an injury. And in the fourth quarter of that game, I went back and looked the other day with Dustin Perry, our strength coach. We had like a 9-play drive, 11-play drive, and a 12 or 13-play drive to win the game when Robbie kicked a field goal at the end. Nick Mullins was quarterback. We won at the end on a field goal. And Trent said that fourth quarter he was hanging on. And he'd just come off an injury. So, you'd like to think he's going to play him, but then again, it could be an 80-play game, and it could end up in a position where the guy can't do it. So is it going to be a rotation? I don't know. We'll see how Trent does after tomorrow and see exactly what happens. Hopefully Trent can play it out. If he can't, Jalen definitely's had a good camp and is ready to go. And how we orchestrate that, I'm not sure that we have to. We'll see.
It's a possibility that if he needs a breather, a series.
Yeah, I would think so. We talk about it. Did you see Trent Williams over there on the bike pedaling while he's waiting for the next series? I just don't know. It just kind of seems weird. I don't know how we're going to do it. We'll see how it goes. We're still, it's a work in progress, but we've had a lot of discussion about it. We'll see what happens.
Trent went out of his way the other day when he talked to us to say that how special you've been to him for so long. Called you an uncle, I think. And then just curious, how much communication do you actually do, and how much do you just know each other and it's unspoken?
Well, if it's an uncle, it's the crazy uncle, that's for sure. So, Trent and I, it is. Trent and I don't have to say a lot to each other in regard to that. It's not an excuse. That's not we don't. We just gotten close through the years. I was with him when he was young and crazy, and he was having a hard time not managing the league. He was immature, and I've watched him grow through the years, and we've been through a lot together. My son Micah, who worked with us like as a ball boy at camp in Washington, Trent took him in like his own brother. And I think at the time Micah was 10. I don't know what he was. He was young. And from that time, he kind of became part of our family. He always was like a family member to us. We we had a good relationship. And Trent's the kind of player that as you coach him, I think Kyle would get frustrated with me, but I think over time, as he's matured, Kyle's understood it. The guys, I can get on Trent. You don't need. It's a different relationship. It's a guy you communicate with, talk with. As I said, I think I've said to you before that Pooney's right in that basket with Warwick, Dunn, and Trent as guys that really get football early. That was the point with Trent. I started to coach him. I realized this guy sees the game at a different level for a young player. So that communication was always that way. And personally, I mean, it's not like we're in each other's business as far as personally, family and stuff like that, but there's just a closeness. I don't know what it is, a good connection. I'm flattered he thinks that of me. I've always thought of all my guys that way, but Trent I've been with for a long time, and watching his ups and downs and what he's gone through in his career has been really cool. It's cool to be with him right now.
A lot of big, strong guys in
this
this.
day was just how he would like to break down barriers, like keep going until play at a high level until at least 40. He seems to have a real sense of kind of history and maybe where he places in that. How have you seen that aspect in him grow in terms of?
He loves ball. I'm sorry. Yeah, when he got in the league, it's like, can I see film on Walter Jones? He was playing with Seattle, and unfortunately, the film we had, Walter was at the end of his career, wasn't as good as he remembered him. Trent's always had an appreciation. We've always studied other players. He's always looked at other players. Trent is a student of the game. Although he comes across all flash and whatever Trent is, dude he is locked in on football. He loves football. He loves studying the game. He loves understanding the game. He has a great appreciation for the history of the game and the great players. That's why when people said, well, I didn't know what was going on with this contract. I can't deal with it. It's above my pay grade for sure, but I know the guy, and the guy wants to play football. For him to have said, I'm going to retire would have been really hard for him because he does have these other goals. So I'm really glad whatever it is they worked out for him, for our team, number one, because we need the guy, but for him personally, because I do know he wants to be known as that special guy that kind of sets sets all the things. And I get it. When I was in when I was in Minnesota, Randall McDaniel broke the record for consecutive Pro Bowls, and this was when it was at the Iolani Resort, which is off on the other side of the island, not downtown. They just moved it to the other side, and he got the whole top floor of the hotel. And it was my second, third year in the league. I think And I was actually in Tampa at the time. But anyway, I said, God, that is cool. Really, really cool. And then I sat a couple years later with Bruce Matthews, who then broke that record. And you're like, those things are cool. Those firsts. I've been a part of a lot of bad firsts, but to be a part of some really good firsts, and for Trent, it's just a really cool deal.
Quinton Williams, speaking of great players, is there's a lot of big, strong guys, but he's obviously great. What makes him so great? He's got
a low center of gravity. He's gotten bigger. Our guys were laughing the other day. He's listed at 303 pounds. I don't think he's at 303 anymore. That might have been his combine weight. But he is a load, and he plays with a great center of gravity. He plays with great energy. He's got explosion in his body. So he's one of those guys. We listed a bunch of guys the other day as to where he would rank with, and I'm not going to give you the ranking between, the great defensive tackles that we face. And we face a lot of them. And he's just one of those real strong and explosive guys that you don't get on him quick. If you don't take care of your business, you're not recovering. He's too strong and too powerful a guy, and it makes it hard to recover. So you got to be on your business early to take care of him if you have a chance to take care of him.
When you say you talk about ranking guys, is that like guys in a bar, like, hey, what do you think? Or is, it like, is there like a real meaning?
Oh, we have a little more experience than the guy in the bar, but not much. I mean, seriously, I get you. No, it's like here's what I threw out. I said, okay, how good is Quentin Williams? I said, okay, so I threw out, okay, Aaron Donald. Okay, all right. The guy from New York, big number, what's the big guy's name? Lawrence, right? Okay, 97 from Green Bay. Okay, throw out another one. There's another really good one we play. Chris Jones, right? I could list about 3 or 4 more guys. You say, okay, where does he fit in that ranking? Well, you guys in your mind are already doing it. And you guys are one step better than the bar. It's just one step, but we're sitting there, we're going, and so you sit there and you say to yourself, you're like, so this guy's a really good player, but we've played a lot of really good players too. That's not to diminish him. He could tear us up. I mean, he's capable of wrecking the game. You have to note where he is, but we've dealt with a lot of guys as well. So he's the challenge this week. Shoot, when we played Indianapolis a couple years ago, we slid our protection. At the time we were a little more flexible because of what Indy did. We slid to Buck. Now, Buck is not what we all would have considered a premier pass rusher, but he was their pass rusher. He was their bell cow in their rush scheme. And so we had to take care of Buck. And so he's the guy this week. Where he ranks in that group, I'll leave that to you guys, and we'll see where it ends up.
We got to go. Brock's ready. Sorry. Thank you. Thanks, Coach.
I'm not ready to leave yet, okay?
The team has three really good corners. What do they look like on film when you watch them?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I just feel like they have like a lot of experience and they have a good natural feel for the game and sort of understanding like concepts that offenses are running, and they're smart. And obviously, they're very athletic. Sauce Gardner's got some great length. DJ Reed's really quick, smart, gritty, and so for us, it's gonna be a great challenge. And anytime we're gonna push the ball outside the numbers or anything like that, it's just got to be smart and aware of those guys because they're really, really good corners. So
When you watch the Jets defense on film, how similar schematically is it to what you're facing in training camp every day?
yeah, I would say pretty similar. You can just tell their mindset of playing fast and physical, just like our guys. They fly around, and you can just tell like it branches back to from when Saleh was here. And so obviously the scheme as well, just how they run their defense and stuff, very similar. But obviously we got to be ready for just any other kind of different looks and stuff. And going into it, they know that we're familiar with their defense and stuff, but we just got to be ready for anything else that they can throw our way. So, but I'm excited just in the fact that I've gone against this defense for a while. All of our guys have, but they're different players. So we haven't gone up against their guys yet. So that's the challenge.
A team that puts so much emphasis on practice reps. Kyle talks about it all the time. Christian talks about it all the time. You've had some pretty key guys that have not had a ton of practice reps between Brandon and Trent and Christian. You still feel confident you can just hit the ground Monday night without all those reps and still be sharp?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we've all, had so many game reps and just experience together that we understand just from watching our film and then obviously being back together with the time that we've had so far. We all understand like how we move, how we operate, and how we need to play within this system and with each other. So, Trent was gone for a little bit, obviously, but when he's come back in, it feels good. It feels natural again back in the huddle. And when I'm dropping back with him there, and same with BA and his routes thrown to him for the last week or so, it all just feels pretty normal. But, I mean, I could say all that now when the bullets are flying, like we're going to find out, So, and then obviously same with Christian too and his reps and stuff. So it goes for everybody. But, we're all going to have to adjust and adapt on the fly. That's just how it is with live bullets and the live action and games. So, like I said, we'll find out.
Iowa State, Will McDonald was supposedly a terror on the field, on the practice field. Matt Campbell said they had to yank him out of some 2-minute stuff to let the offense operate. What was that rivalry on the practice field like, and how fun is it going to be able to see that guy in an NFL game on the other side now?
Yeah, I mean, at practice, man, Will was so twitchy and bendy around the corners and stuff, and it was very hard for our offensive line to block him at practice. And so, for me, like going up against him at practice at Iowa State, it was always like, dang, man, like this guy's just a freak, and it's hard for me to go through my progressions and stuff. But, we're on another level now in the NFL, but he's still that same, twitchy, fast, quick, explosive player. So anytime he's on the field, I definitely got to be aware of him. But I'm excited to go against him. Both of us being from Iowa State, with the guys that we have in the league and stuff, anytime we're playing against one of my guys from Iowa State, I always get excited and really, happy for them that they're at this level exceeding. But obviously when we step on the field, it's, I'm competing and I want to beat them. So, but I'm happy for Will.
You mentioned that things feel normal, but have there been some kind of a reacclimation process of going with Brandon out there on the field? Have there been any miscommunications in practices?
I mean, it's hard to tell just because, this is a game week, so we're putting in new plays and things for the Jets defense and everything. So it's just like any other game week, to be honest, where we have new plays in and everyone's sort of feeling it out. And so, I mean, I guess there's that kind of stuff with Brandon, but when it comes to, our base, route trees, our concepts, and him running and me throwing him out of his breaks, I'm not going to lie, it feels pretty normal. It feels pretty good. And obviously I remember him a lot, just how he runs and how he moves compared to like Jawan and Debo. Like they're all different, but I remember how BA moves. And if you ask me, I feel like we've been connecting pretty well.
You mentioned that you guys got together last weekend, or
yep.
Which day was that?
I think that was Friday morning or Saturday morning. Yeah.
Was that helpful in terms of kind of just having that specific time for just the two of you to get back on the same
Yeah, it was huge. Just he and I out in the field and like I said, just getting back into our base fundamental, like routes and everything. He was working on his conditioning and stuff as well, but more than anything, like I said, just him getting in and out of cuts. Like BA does it very quickly. compared to some other guys, and he's a lot more explosive, I would say, and his hips are more mobile, so like he can break down and get in and out in any direction. And so that was a good day for me to just get back into sync of seeing how he moves and feeling it out again, so that this week at practice we sort of picked up where we left off.
Reese has said that he obviously moved in the year after you. You guys were roommates. He's credited a lot of that to his development. What did Brees bring to you living with him for those 2 years at Iowa State?
Yeah, I mean, like one of the most talented football players that I've ever shared the field with or just seen play football live. Like Brees is one of the most talented guys, and so seeing his development from, like right when he got there as a freshman to then us like pushing each other in the weight room and getting on the field and the relationship that we had, like he was a brother to me, man, and like a little brother, bringing him under my wing and just trying to push him and want to see him be his best and to see his mentality flip and to go get after it, man, it was pretty sweet to see. And so we pushed each other in everything that we did. Obviously, you hear the stories of us like competing in Madden and stuff, and that's all true. Like we were so competitive with each other, and just like off-season stuff in the weight room, like just pushing each other with stuff where it was basically like you'd try to go for time and length and then you'd fail or whatever, like whether it was a core workout or a leg workout or whatever. So like we were just pushing each other all the time. So but to see his development over the 3 years that he was there and that we were there together was pretty cool. And obviously him being in the NFL, man, he's very talented and he's a freak athlete, and I want nothing but the best for Brees, so love him.
Similarities in the way that he's wired competitively as a running back, preparation as you see now with Christian, because you get to kind of see behind the scenes with both of those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think they both, just have that mentality of when they step on the field, man, they want to show the world what's up, like who they are and what they're about. And obviously the way they prepare and everything is a credit to that, so that when they do step on the field, they're the best they can be. And seeing how Christian prepares, man, I haven't seen anything like that. Like, he does it better than anybody, if you ask me. And so, I mean, I learned from him. We all learned from him in the locker room, and just to see how he goes about taking care of his body, his mentality, getting ready for games, like all of it. It's on another level. So, but to see those two backs, I've been very fortunate to play with some really good running backs so far in my career, and yeah, I think that's sort of how they, compare.
Brock, any wager with George this week on the big game?
Yeah, we got one. Yeah, y'all will see.
I assume you moved on from last season, a long time ago, but I guess symbolically, you really are turning the page here. I mean, it'll be weird for us to ask Super Bowl questions after week one or whatever. Is it nice to it begins again in some ways? Maybe it's just symbolic, but now you're moving on from whatever last year.
Yeah, I mean, we've done so much, I feel like, as a team, whether it was guys leaving, guys joining our team, and growing together with the squad that we have this year, and that's where our mindset is at, man. It's about 2024. We played that game in February, and now it's already a new season. So for us, it has been like that since we got back for OTAs and camp, just in terms of flipping the page and getting after it for this year, man. So it's a long season, it's a marathon, but we know what it takes. And Monday night for us, it's the start of a whole new journey. So excited for it. Thanks, guys.